Okay, now I think we're ready. That only took 10 minutes. We're going to split the slideshow into two parts. Today we'll talk about product rule and quotient rule. Tomorrow we'll do the trig stuff and higher order derivatives. Higher order derivatives, not too bad. Trig, kind of nasty. Okay, let's start with that. Find that derivative, please.
Sorry, that's a 3. I understand, but it's still 3. Yeah. And what's that? What number is that right there? That's a 7.
Oh, no, I just
Don't be scared. Heck, we'll put that up on the board. Ready to go. Just pick a color.
You change names. It's good. That tastes really good.
Looks like a chunk.
It'd be nice if you could sew it. I hope she can.
Well, beggars don't get to be choosers there,
That's a
buddy.
really pretty accent.
It looks like a person sitting down.
Next time you bust one over.
It looks like their arms are like they're trying to get up, but like they can't. And they're like, ugh.
Oh, that's horrible.
Max, if you're left-handed, step to the right, then you can watch yourself right. There you
See-
go. Little
Little tidbit.
Little left-handers.
yeah, that's how we roll.
That's for the high
Right-handed
intelligence.
step.
Yeah. That's good.
How do you do?
Boy, no.
Excellent, thank you. Golf clap. Well done, thank you very much. Okay, first term easy, bring the power down, reduce it by 1. 20x a third, no problem. Bring the -6 down, -6 times -3 is 18. Reduce the power by 1, not -5, but -7. And then remember that the square root of x is x to the 1/2. Bring it down, multiply it by 12, and then reduce it by 1. Now, today, that's okay. In the near future, like in the next day or two, this will not be an acceptable answer. You'll have to write it as 20x cubed plus 18 over x to the 7th plus 6 over x to the 1/2, because we won't be allowing negative exponents.
Do you want fractions or do you want to simplify it again?
Oh no, that's fine. Yeah, you don't want to start. No. Don't do that. Okay, so I talked about product rule. We're going to do that. We're going to do quotient rule. Later on, we're going to talk about trig functions. That'll be fun. We've done 2 already. We're going to get the other 4.
Oh, bueno.
We'll talk about higher order derivatives. That's the same thing about like taking the second derivative, the third derivative, the 7th derivative, that kind of stuff. And then, of course, with homecoming week coming up next week, please try to be nice to the freshmen. Okay? They're scared. They just need some love. They're like puppies.
My 1920 years old freshman.
They're really that scared.
Most freshmen are petrified. They just don't show.
They were very rude. They were very rude.
What does that mean?
Really
All right. Here's the product rule. If you want to take the derivative of f of x times g of x, you can't just take f prime times g prime. You have to take f times g prime plus g times f prime. If you want it in English, it's right there. The first being the first function times the derivative of the second being the second function, plus, and it must be important because I wrote it in italics, the second times the derivative of the first. You call for dinosaurs? You yell at your shoes? Call for dinosaurs. Roar. Yell at your shoes. It's all good. You know what to do. Especially in this room.
Who has dinosaurs in their shoes?
Huh?
Okay, if freshmen are so terrified, why are they so annoying?
That
It's a
statement
coping
makes no
mechanism.
sense whatsoever.
I mean, I'm not gonna tell you that I wasn't
If freshmen are
annoying.
terrified, then a
Then
moose needs bent 4 ways.
No, okay, but like, why are they so annoying? Okay, I'm not gonna tell you that I wasn't annoying because I mean, look how I turned out. But like,
I'm gonna let it go. Too easy. I like a challenge. All right, let's try it. What? You still ready? Okay, hold on. It's gotta go good.
It's so, are you writing the whole thing? No.
Are you like drawing a rectangle too and copying the font and putting a blue rectangle in the corner?
She has to get her blue pen.
Well, I already did. That's why it's up there.
okay.
You good? Okay, so try that one. Now I realize, depending on what you want to do, like for instance, you don't know the product rule, you forget the product rule, you could multiply that bad boy out.
Absolutely not.
But the product rule will work a lot easier. So go ahead and give it a shot. For our purposes, f of x would be 3x minus 2x squared, and g of x would be 5 plus 4x.
Shoes are so squeaky.
I'm sorry.
Were you outside today?
Huh?
Were you outside?
No? They're just naturally squeaky shoes.
Stop.
You don't like that sound? Oh, I'm sorry.
Absolutely not.
Really? All right. I'll try to stay on my tippy toes.
They were playing heads up 7 up in my class and my shoes are still outside.
So what does heads up 7 have to do with being kind?
To get to know your class.
Don't twist somebody's thumb when you come by and press it down.
Shoes
I played heads
Yeah,
up
we were
seven.
supposed to play a game and then we just.
My shoes are so loud I had to tiptoe it out.
used to play games.
Wait, why didn't you?
Because my teacher kept talking.
No, I hate.
I hate when those teachers keep talking.
So
Shut up, teachers.
It's not your time to talk.
We'll tell you when you can talk. All right, here we go. What do I do first? Okay, good. We'll get that out of the way. Then what?
Right after x, which is 3x minus
Okay.
2x.
First, times the derivative of the second plus
Oh, I didn't do anything.
the second times the derivative of the first. Parentheses are crucial here. Now you might be saying to yourself, "Self, that wasn't so bad. Let's move on."
Do I gotta multiply it out?
What if you're not saying
No, you gotta multiply that out.
Dang. I didn't come to school
What's
for
that?
this.
You could, if that's what you would prefer. This is America. Fight the power, right on. Plus, let's see, 15, plus 12x minus 20x minus 16x squared. Combining like terms. I've got negative x squared, so negative 24x squared. That takes care of that and that. I've got 24, so plus 4x. That, and that. Plus 15. All done. Write it in proper order, by the way. Highest degree to left. Pregunta?
Where did the 4 come from? Like,
12x plus 12x minus 20x. I got
no,
3.
in the first step.
Oh, that's a derivative of the second term. This is g prime.
Oh.
So the first times the derivative of the second plus the second times the derivative of the first.
Like what? Oh, that sounded like.
The first,
So the first whole.
the first term.
Oh, just the term.
First function.
Okay,
So this is, here, if you want to compare it to the function, or to the equation, that's f of x, and this is g of x.
Okay.
So the first function times the derivative of the second function, that's where the 4 came from, plus the second function times the derivative of the first. Multiply it out, simplify. Okay? Good? Problems? Not me. Not now, but there will be later. As I mentioned, you could have also multiplied it out, but I'm not going to do that. because you would have gotten it, and then take the, okay, same thing, same, we're good.
Less steps though.
It's up to you, this is, you know,
Will it be less steps in the future?
it depends on the problem, it depends on how good you are at multiplying it out.
Okay.
You know, if you got 3 terms, well, that's, that, I don't wanna give anybody a headache. Quotient rule, you ready for this one? Yeah, that's the quotient rule. Hold on, I'll help you out. I've got it in English.
Give me a bag.
This is gonna take me the rest of the period to come
Here
here.
for a while, you better come back.
Does
anybody know
understand
this
the
period is
notation
over?
of it?
Okay, I'm 22 down, I need to
22?
go.
Pretty sure. What? It's like Look at the rain.
Oh wait, this is disgusting.
Focus, Rachel. Shiny bauble.
So she's never seen rain before.
Orange-ish, Rachel.
Bubble. I don't know, that's why I
The one was
said
gonna
that.
happen when it starts.
What's a ball?
No.
You're
Don't
right,
no.
you want me to laugh like my crap.
Where do you want to
Here we go.
I think we should.
Wait, after the AP test, can we do like literally nothing?
Rachel, you
I was
back
going to
to
turn that Chinese ball. That's what I was saying.
Your left.
And they're always involved.
Do I
Yeah.
really?
But with my luck,
Oh
I
my
do
goodness,
that.
my hair is so hot in my car.
See, I used to go find my dad in the snow.
Alright, but we just need to do a separate
Yeah,
one.
I do not walk to school.
And we ended up using a sled hill from our roof. We went down the hill. And after done with that, we actually took like chisel, like a gardening tool, and
I
dug
don't know
it
my
out. I made it
After I got out of the
our
car.
Was she in?
Okay, so you can copy down the theorem, that's fine. You could copy down the English English terms, but I'll show you how to do it, and it's easier to see it in action because there's a lot of places in this one where you can make mistakes. So common mistakes that people make is they forget that it's minus. They forget one of the things that you want to do, right? Problem solved. One of the things when you're copying this down is you definitely want to put some parentheses there. Those are very important. Or brackets, I mean, or braces if you'd like. Entirely up to you. And so this is what it looks like when you actually do the problem. So there's a quotient rule. I've got one function divided by another function. There's no way to simplify that. Even if I do break it up and split the fraction, it's still going to be 2 quotients, so might as well just knock it out all at once. And so here's how I do it. If this helps you, great. If not, you can just follow the theorem. But I start with the Gazinta bar.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
Are you serious? It has a name?
it's called the
And its
Gazinta
name
bar.
is Gazinta?
Right, because this goes into that.
Okay, I didn't say
See
that.
ya. Take the denominator. Leave it in the denominator and square it. Step number 1.
Still don't get it.
Okay. Square the denominator. Now, since you just used the denominator, use that denominator again and bring it up on top.
Tell me no.
Okay?
Rachel, come
So I squared the denominator on the bottom, then I brought it up to the top. Since I used the denominator as is, I want to pair that up with the derivative of the numerator minus parentheses or bracket. I already took the denominator, the derivative of the numerator, so now I need to take the derivative of the denominator times the numerator. Should I go through that again?
Yeah.
Square the denominator on the bottom. Bring that denominator up on top. The denominator times the derivative of the numerator minus the derivative of the denominator times the numerator.
Do you think we'll ever memorize this?
You better. Or it could be a really long year. Now I have both good news and bad news. Which one would you like first?
The bad
The
news.
bad news is you have to multiply out the numerators.
Disgusting.
Yep. Oh, this is
Yeah,
nothing.
we love that. We love
The good news is never ever multiply out a denominator. Leave the denominator alone. And there's many reasons for that, all of which we'll cover at a later date.
As long as we don't attack. You can walk on the bottom. Just I was listening at all.
That is
Rachel.
evident.
Rachel.
All done.
We don't have to cry.
That was aggressive.
Now, maybe that numerator factors, I have no idea, but I do know one thing. If I factor the numerator, it's not going to do me any good because it won't cancel with anything in the denominator. So the only time you really got to worry about factoring the numerator is if you see that it'll cancel with something on the bottom, which this won't, so leave it alone. Unfortunately, unfortunately, at this point in time, there's no other way to do a quotient rule. We will get another method later, but for now, quotient rules have to be done as quotient rules. Question?
Okay, but what's the point of it?
Taking the derivative of a quotient. Where have you been?
Okay, no, but like, so,
I know, it's not done yet.
so what function? Alright.
Okay. Everybody have this?
Yes.